Welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. To those that might be new, we are the Light Renegades. We are a collective of Pleiadian beings bringing you information from the stratospheres that are ever expanding. We are disclosing cosmic secrets and hopefully bringing forward information to allow for you to stand ever more in your sovereignty and in your power. But that being said, I'm here with just me, an energetic update, and it always feels so strange to say that I'm just here with me. And I'm never fully alone, truly alone. That's something that I think I often forget on this path, and I know that it still might boggle the mind to some just how I guess little I speak to teams of light in my present given time, because there have been spaces where I've definitely been having to heal trust within my spaces with them in my own personal journey. This is not connecting to anything that I do over in the Light Renegades. There has just been layers of trust that were broken, that things that happened behind the scenes that really took a knocking for me at my expression. And I blame my teams of light because I wasn't ready to blame myself, knowing that I chose to be in those expressions, that I chose to be put in those situations in order for me to grow. Sometimes it's incredibly painful and you just think, no, I'm not going to blame myself. I'm just going to blame someone else instead. And I think that's definitely where I've been having to take a look around again at my self-expression and at my shadow. I've been having to face my shadow at its deepest capacity. And I've definitely been met with some explosive interactions of late. We did have the Aries super duper moon. We had the Hunter's moon too. So everything was incredibly heightened, and I went into some energy work in a space that was connected to sacrifice and having to atone for that expression, and having to come to a space of understanding that where I was in that present given time, stood in 2 feet on the ground, literally reading Psalms in the middle of a field, was where I find myself right now in my present given journey. And I think sometimes when we are intuitively guided to do things, it feels incredibly out of the realm of the ordinary. Sometimes we're in spaces where we're just completely breaking down that to do something of intuition feels incredibly foreign. I've definitely been taken to a space of what felt like the beginning again. I felt like I died again. I felt like I transitioned, crossed over into a new threshold, a new space. And teams have stepped forward and said, you are anew. Each day you are growing so much, you are growing exponentially at this time, and so many of you are also in this expression. So don't hold on to anything too tightly is what I want to share, and make sure that you are holding ultimate compassion for yourself and those around you. It's been an incredibly trying time for me to be stepping forward in my deepest capacity, because I'm seeing exactly where it is triggering others, where it has been triggering others for the entirety of my life, and the spaces where I was quietened down, where I was told to not be as expressive or as emotional, as outspoken as I think that I actually am. And I became very quiet. I became very, very insular. I became very, very, I was quite shy as a child, but I think as soon as I got to know someone, or if I was comfortable in a space, I was quite expressive, and I always said what was on my mind. And I think that got me into a lot of trouble. That has always got me into a lot of trouble in my life, because sometimes it is just a very obvious space for me that I share what is happening. I have an answer for something, and luckily enough I'm in a profession now where people come and ask me for help, so I get to share that information that's not unsolicited. But sometimes I know I've been pushed into a space to be doing that, and I've had to take the weight and the brunt of that expression afterwards, knowing that I did it for a certain soul's expression. And I'm grateful that they got the chance to be triggered and to be expanding in their space. But it wasn't comfortable for me to be in that space, and sometimes there's been moments on this path where teams have been like, go and do this, go and tell this person this, and I've been like, absolutely not. And there's just this niggling at the back of my mind somewhere, at the back of my body somewhere. I just feel compelled to share what I have, and that's a confirmation to some out there. You're not wrong in what you're experiencing, what you're sensing. And if you come to a space where you feel incredibly confused, who can you call in to ask for that support? What can you do to bring yourself into a state of peace? And I was very much catapulted into a space of standing between what felt like 3 different timelines, and an expression of, I'm not entirely sure where I am, but nothing feels safe or good. And I was really having to pull myself out of that space, and an understanding of, I get to decide what I do with this space, with what I was being presented. And it's about how I was seating in that expression. And I very much had to be honest and truthful with myself. And I had to come back to a state of really understanding that I am multidimensional, and everything that I'm experiencing is real and true somewhere. And no matter what anyone else says or does, it's my reality, and I have to treat it as such, and I have to treat it as precious and important and mine. And I think the minute that we decide to give our power away to anyone else, knowingly or unknowingly, the minute that we decide to listen to other people's expression of us other than our own expression, that's when things can get tricky, that's when things can get messy. And of course there are those souls that are here to help us, but you always have to sink into a space of your heart. What is your heart telling you about a certain situation? And I realized that I was getting into trouble along the way because my heart just didn't exist for a very big portion of my life. Things happen when you're quite young, or things happen time and time again in your life path where the heart just starts to disintegrate and you feel like you don't have one anymore. And that's when things started to take a complete nosedive in my life, and I really had to claw myself back out of those expressions and seeing where I was just having to learn and understand self at the deepest and darkest point. So if you've been facing your shadow, it's okay, you're not wrong. Have compassion for yourself and those around you, and please just try and sink into a space of knowing that whatever is happening to you and for you at the exact same time. And there's always this expression of that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. But I think somewhere we have to take responsibility of that sometimes things are happening to us in that present given time, and we can't just pretend that it's not. There were so many incidences along this path where I just brushed off multi-dimensional expression or experiences with spirit, with ether, because it just didn't feel like it could be here. I didn't feel worthy for it to be here somewhere too. So I think that's another expression for some of you to look at too. Do you feel worthy to be stood side by side with multidimensional beings, with teams of light, with teams of darkness? What is it that you need to feel strong and stable in your expression with them, because we are all as one? And I think that's something that I've been very lucky to feel and experience from the day one, is that I just felt like, oh, this makes sense to me because I feel of the same essence and vibration somewhere. Spirit just made sense to me. I feel like I've just come into a space of understanding just the capacity that I can reach this lifetime, and that I've already reached, and perhaps I haven't been giving myself enough credit of just how much I've grown already on this path and on this journey. So every day I'm learning, every day I'm expanding, every day I'm learning to stand ever more in my sovereignty and in my expression of exactly whom I am here in this present given time, soul expression, heart leading, and what that can mean for myself and so many others around me too. So remember, the more that you step forward in your capacities of love, of light, of expression of soul, the more that ripples out into your vicinity and those around you too. And that's not a wrong expression. Sometimes some souls come onto this path kicking and screaming. I was definitely one of those, and I've been witnessing to that, those in my close proximity coming on this path, kicking and screaming slowly but surely. And I'm just having to hold compassion for them and knowing that they are on the path and there is nothing I can do to hurry the process. I'm just going to have to witness them growing in their own space, in their own time, and that being okay. And I do have to laugh sometimes because I very much feel like I've taken the lead role in my whole entire family, and actually I'm one of, the youngest souls that are here in terms of that expression. So that's been an interesting experience. And I will say that my ancestors have stepped forward at much deeper capacity than they have in previous years, and I think it's because they know that I'm leading now and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. They are here to help me because they want me to see the mistakes that they've made, and to help me understand, just how much power I do hold and the reason why I am here. And I have been here to deal with ancestral trauma, ancestral karma, and, I'm leading in that space, and that be okay. I'm okay to say that I do stand here in my sovereignty, I'm in my power. I'm allowed to be of power. I'm allowed to be a soul that is expression all that I experience, and no one can stop me. And there is also going to be no one to give you the permission to step forward either. So trust in your space and what you're experiencing. If you feel like I'm ready to share my voice, go and share it. Good of all, harm to none is what I always say. But I have found myself in situations where I thought, if I say this is not going to go down well, but teams of light and my heart is telling me that I need to say it regardless, and I have to deal with the consequences and the fallout of that afterwards. And I'm still dealing, I guess, with some expressions where it has been incredibly confusing, and it's very difficult when you can't experience, everything at the exact same time, because you have to just deal with what's in front of you. And I've very much been having to deal with the now as opposed to other expressions. And sometimes I'm put in a space of dealing with so many timelines at once, and it's incredibly jarring to know exactly where the now is. So that's also another expression to be sinking into. What is in your present given time now? If it's someplace else, do you need to be dealing with it there, or can you bring it into the space of now and dealing with it at a different capacity? So that's just for those that might might be dealing with multi timelines right now. We are all dealing with multi timelines, but those that are more aware, I feel like that's an expression that wanted to come forward. But I've been finding myself deeper in nature. I've been finding myself deeper in the elementals. It's interesting to me. I was very galactic in one expression. Now I kind of switched to be, it's still galactic energy to me, but very much in the elemental space, very much in Avalon and Gaia. And yeah, it's a different layer of expanse, is what I want to share, but I'm very much enjoying it. I've been doing a lot of research behind the scenes, connecting to witches, given it's spooky season in October, and I'm living in the UK, so there's a lot of history surrounding that. So I've been understanding that at a deeper capacity, which has really helped me stand ever more in my sovereignty and in my power, and when it's in regard to magic and the expression of using the elements to wield power is what I want to share. So that might be an expression for some that you want to look into, you know, herbology, what that's going to mean for you, what the elements in earth might mean to you in your present given time, because we're all of earth, we're all of soil. So remember that this is where we can harness a lot of our energy. There is the Aleister Crowley series that I've been doing, so I've been steeping into a deeper state of expression in those spaces. This is energy is not wanting me to get this information out, but I'm going to keep that in here so that you can all see in the present given time just what sneakies are around sometimes. So remember that too, everyone. As much as you think that you have a high level of expression and protection, sometimes there are things that can slip in, and you know, don't let that be something that deters you. Let that be something that makes you stronger in your convictions of self, and knowing that whatever is trying to stop you, they are stopping you for a very good reason. And you know, this is because you are of power. So if you feel like you are struggling in your spaces and that things are trying to stop you, it's because what you are doing is incredibly important. And I think that's a bit that I've been missing all the times that I've been stepping forward and thinking, I don't know what is going on, I'm just fracturing behind the scenes, it feels like things don't want me to get this information out. It's because it's incredibly important. So remember that if you are struggling in your spaces, beings are trying to stop you, energies are trying to stop you, perhaps yourself is trying to stop you, because you know that what it might mean for yourself moving forward. And that's definitely been a space that I've been in of late, seeing where I've perhaps been holding myself back through fear of what it might mean for those around me, for my own self too, and seeing that I'm just completely stepping away from a life that I thought I once knew, but I realized I wasn't happy there. So I'm having to step into a new fragment of existence, a new state of reality, and that being my space that I create my, my heaven on earth, my multidimensional on earth, and that being the space that I want myself to reside in. I'm ready for my expanse, I'm ready for my sovereignty, and I'm ready for the next chapter. So if you've been on the threshold, daring, not daring, perhaps to take that leap, take that, step into the abyss, this is your confirmation that you are ready and it is time. I've also been seeding in an expression of, I guess, a state of disclosure that I'd forgotten existed, and it's the phase just before you meet the negative reptilian order, I think. And this is going to those around, public platforms that are on, disclosing conspiracy expression out there, and me really trying to seed in what those souls are experiencing and how that falters and differs from us knowing the negative reptilian order exists. And I feel like there is a lot that is being brought to my attention that I can bring forward at a later date for you all. So please watch out for that information, because I think it might help you understand where some are in your vicinity, and that not being a wrong expression, it just means that they're just not ready for this negative reptilian expression in their understanding. So where can you meet them where they are to help them in their expanse and what is manageable to them? And there is no wrong way to expand. I feel like there is going to be souls that won't reach this negative reptilian order at any point in this lifetime. That has to be okay. That does not mean they're not an expansive soul. They're just on a different expression, learning different things, and that can live in tandem too, is what I want to share. That's been something that's been brought to my attention of late, and yeah, it's quite eye-opening in its expression. But I am looking forward to stepping forward in a different space of energy. I think I've been coming to the last legs of this shedding, of this little mini moment that I've had of a breakdown. Again, it's probably been going on for about a month now, which has been incredibly interesting, incredibly painful, incredibly eye-opening. I've learned so much, I think, in this such a short space of time, in this whole time of expanse. A year and a half, I think, on the channel. It's been a whirlwind, and I know that this is only the beginning. So I'm buckling up for what's to come, but I know that it's going to be of a space that is much lighter somewhere, because I'm leading with much more heart, and that's because of all of you souls here too. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for seeding your expression, your love and your light towards myself and all of us Light Renegades. It's incredibly appreciated. And I hope that me sharing in this information is seeding that reciprocity somewhere. And thank you for all of you just stepping forward in your sovereignty and in your power every day, doing what you do in your micros to the macro, living your lives and your expressions, sharing your love and your light with your families and those people that you care about. That's what it's all about, everyone. So remember that there's no too small of a expression that isn't helping the collective. Just being a decent being every day, I think, is the strongest position to be in right now. So continue to be an expressive soul of love is what I want to share. But that's all from myself today, and I'll be back soon. Take care.